and welcome to Akancha Against Harassment, your Cyber Safety 101. I'm going to talk about some general internet safety rules today because given all the recent conflicts and controversies around Facebook and data privacy and people being extremely worried all of a sudden. So guess what? We didn't know all this while that all our data is being shared, is it? I thought that's basic knowledge which all of us had. And therefore, I want you to pay very close attention to the 4 or 5 tips I'm going to give you today. You know, whenever I say there are some general internet safety tips, people say, we already know all of this. Then what happened? Why did it bother you so much that Facebook was selling your data? It shouldn't have, right? And suddenly everyone thinks, oh, my WhatsApp conversation are being listened to. And, Amazon is listening to my conversation. But when we talk about a few safety tips, very few people are really paying attention. So what I want you to do is just imagine like you're on a flight. Most of you have traveled by flight. And what's the first thing the flight attendant says? You may have heard these instructions many times over, but please pay attention to me for your own safety. Right? So that's what we'll do for the next 5 minutes. First thing I want to tell you is, you got to be very careful about what you put on the web, not just social media apps, anywhere on the web, because there's something called as digital footprints and they remain forever. Just because you delete a post from somewhere, I can trace your posts or, deleted messages or blogs for over last 5, 6, 10 years. It's really very easy. Any hacker, anyone with some information of technology can do this very, very easily. So first rule, be very careful of what you put out on the web, which means that even if you use cuss words, even if you use inflammatory language, it remains forever. And as you know, a lot of countries today are looking at your social media profiles before they issue visa. A lot of HR across, who are looking at senior position recruitments, they look at your social media profiles. You don't want anything objectionable to show up, right? Secondly, know that privacy is just an illusion. All these words, put up this privacy guard on your profile picture and nobody can download it. All your WhatsApp messages are encrypted. At the end of it, do not mean anything. Your messages, your pictures, your data is getting stored somewhere. Therefore, whatever you put out on your public profile or your private profile, just make sure that these are messages or pictures which you won't be embarrassed with, even if they are shared. So before you put out any intimate pictures, before you put out any deep details of where you stay, your passport pictures, oh my God, I say this almost in every alternate episode, and I still can't get over people, showing their boarding passes with a Starbucks cup. I don't know what's the compulsion, for the whole world to know that you're traveling somewhere. Don't do it, right? Next, do not open any links on emails or chats which look suspicious. Even though as obvious as that is, a lot of malware today is distributed through these emails or through these chat room talks. And what happens is, the moment you click on any suspicious link, immediately the malware gets installed on your system. So very often, how after this malware gets installed on your system, it's also possible that your webcam gets hacked. And that's when voyeurism takes place. That's when you're being watched without your permission, right? So do not click on any of these very exciting sounding links about, lose 5 kgs in 2 days and look like a 20-year-old in 10 days. Trust me, they don't work, because if they worked, I would be the first one to sign up, right? I'm going to give you a very important tip now. Please keep track of whom you interact on the internet. Some people may not be who they seem to be. You know what? Even offline, most people don't seem, they aren't really whom they project themselves to be. So how do you really know on the internet? You can't see their body language. You don't see how they dress. You haven't seen how they speak to the others. How do you form these impressions so easily? And true friendships take a very long time to develop. Maybe that's one of the reasons why our childhood friends or our school friends remain friends for a long period of time. Why? Because you share physical space with them. Remember, quick friendships on internet do not work. Watch out whom you're interacting with and how they behave with others. Watch out for what kind of language they use with other people, what kind of groups they are affiliated to. This is extremely important. And if you're going to meet somebody whom you just made acquaintance with online, make sure you meet them in a public place. Make sure somebody else in your group or in your family or a friend, sibling, somebody knows whom you're going to meet. Be extremely careful and watchful of people you meet on internet. Again, something very, very simple, and I keep repeating, please choose very strong passwords. Why does it have to be your first crush or, your latest crush on an actor or an actress or, Bandra 123? It just doesn't work. It's fairly simple because these scramblers, they can unscramble your password. Then there's only that many combinations which you can really keep with your name and your date of birth or your first love or your current love and your husband and your puppy and Tuffy. It just doesn't work. And there are tons of ways in which you can generate really complex passwords. But for any youngsters listening in, let me give you a very good tip on how to keep a strong password and something which you can remember anywhere, but nobody else will know. So let's imagine your favorite poem or your favorite song. Anything in the world. Whatever, Despacito, right? Just remember the first line of the song. That's if you remember the lines of that song. And you take the first alphabet of every word. All right? And then you take the second or the third alphabet, whatever you like, and convert that to the number. And you scramble this and make a combination and make a password. It's really complicated. Imagine someone having to think of your favorite poem from childhood or your favorite Hindi song or your favorite Kannada song and then, unscrambling to the first alphabet, second alphabet, third alphabet. But if you forget, you can always take a piece of paper and write down and again unscramble it, right? So there are many, many, many ways in which you can choose strong passwords. And these sign-ins to a Facebook, to a Twitter, to your Instagram, make sure you sign in from different email IDs. Because if the singular email ID gets hacked, then all your accounts are compromised. These are some very, very simple safety tips. And I just want to wind up by saying, anything you put up online is going to be available to anyone at any point they like. So only put up information which are not going to be embarrassed and which are not going to be a security threat for you. I'll speak to you soon on this subject. Once again, until then, stay safe, stay aware. For everyone listening in to Akancha Against Harassment podcast, I want to make a request to you. If you have any questions, if you have any doubts in your mind, you want any more information, I hope you have my Twitter ID, which is AKANCHAS. I repeat, it's AKANCHAS. So tweet to me. Thank you.